Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 21st day of May, 2019. Well, if you haven't been here before, welcome. I'm going to shuffle a little bit, and then we're going to get started. I'm going to chat a little bit as well while I shuffle. Otherwise, you're just going to hear the sound of shuffling. And that's just odd, so I'm not going to do that. So I'll visit a little bit. I try to just keep it, if I rant, I end up going on for too long, and then I have to start this thing over, and, But I don't know any witch that doesn't have an activist mentality, so it is what it is. Then you get into your crone years, and you just don't care anymore, and you're going to say what you're going to say. So there it is. Those of you who've been here understand it's a process. Anyhow, with the current political system that we have in this country, I can get really carried away. Probably the only person worse than me is my husband. You don't want to be in the room with him when the orange dude comes on the screen. I have to mute it. I can't hear his voice. As an empath, everything has vibration, and it doesn't make any difference if it's on social media or if it's on television or if you're in the same room with somebody. You're going to feel that vibration. It doesn't matter if it's you can watch a movie over and over again that you're affected by. So there's an interaction there. There's an energy there, even when you're not with the person themselves. And it's why survivors are so triggered by him. It's why empaths are exhausted by him. I've had to actually block him on Twitter. If you don't block him, here's the thing. You can mute him, but that's not going to be enough. You can unfollow him or not follow him at all. That's not enough. You have to block him. If you don't want to see or be affected by his tweets, you have to block him. You're going to see enough from people who take screenshots of them and embed them into some kind of a response. You'll see them there, but you will never see, if someone retweets him, you won't see it. You'll see theirs, you'll see if they comment, you'll see that. But what you'll see for his thing, and you'll see who they're commenting to, so you'll know it's his, but it'll say this tweet is unavailable, and you won't see it. And I have to tell you, if you're empathic at all, if you become agitated by seeing it in print, you got to turn it off. And the only way to do that on Twitter is to block him. And you will reduce your stress. You will. It was the one thing that helped me immeasurably, was to block him on Twitter. It's bad enough to read those things. It's awful. He's not right in the head. He just isn't. He couldn't be. To write that stuff, please. I've never seen anybody more childish in all my life. Truly. It's frightening. So that's what I recommend. If you're empathic, just block, and you're on Twitter, block him. Just block him. It'll save your sanity. It really will. Well, yesterday, we've kind of been following along here, kind of taking the whole week as a whole, because for some reason, the last few weeks, things, maybe even the last couple of months, things have really, the readings have seemed to sort of flow one day into the next. And sometimes one week will build, the following week will build on the one before. So I've been keeping track of it. So let's just review what we did yesterday. We had the 5 of Swords, 6 of Swords, Ace of Cups. Yira was our rune. And then I did Carcer. I drew Carcer when I did the Geomancy rune. So we started with some conflict, but then some higher self-awareness came into play, then followed by some emotional fulfillment as a result of that, and then some balanced energy exchange with others. Also within the 20 is that reduces to 2. So that's numerologically the energy is of balance and polarity and decisions and all of that. But typically we think about it in terms of balance. And so it's almost like we started and so had some conflict, maybe some verbal conflict with somebody, or we're kind of at odds with someone or a group of someone's. But instead of staying within that, we decided to remove ourselves from that to get a different perspective, or maybe we removed ourselves after gaining a different perspective. And we're really moving toward peace. Again, it's about living in drama that is you have no control over. You have to find a way out of that, and you have to find a way to stay peaceful within that. You can know it's happening, but you really can't participate too much in it because all it does is upset your whole state of mind. So let's take the first card today and see if we're going to build on yesterday or if we're going to start something new. And if you haven't been here before, I take the 13th card each time, and I typically draw 3 cards, sometimes 4. Just depends on what the 3 are doing. And then I'll draw a rune. And then lately I've been doing a geomancy rune. And those are basically, I do them I made them into little runes. They've got 2 dots on one side and 1 dot on the other. And then I have the element that they're referencing because they go in an order. When you throw them, there's 4 of them. And that's how I've chosen to do them. You can do them as sticks. You can use pebbles. You can use peas. And if you do that, you have a handful of them. You grab some out. You throw them down. If it's an even number, that's a dual dot. If it's an odd number, it's a single dot. And so that's how you would do that. So you can really, you could just go get little tiny pebbles outside, little tiny rocks, and use that if you want to. It's really just about however many you grab and then throw. If you want to do it that way. I just decided to do it in terms of runes because that's what I like to work with. So that's why I did that. Anyhow, I've got the 8 of Pentacles here. So we're talking about the earth element and our physical form, physical matter, wealth, stability, security, financial security. Here, he's working on his craft. You can see the town in the back. But this is about building his legacy. It's about progressive work. It's about harmony. It's about, but not just harmony within, but harmony with others so that here, he's basically creating what he needs to sell. This is his trade. This is his business. This is his work. And so it's on behalf of others. With the 6, you see kind of a higher self, entering into the whole equation. And so you're aware of the higher self presence and you're sort of behaving from that. So the idea of reciprocity comes into play, random acts of kindness, things like that. But with the 8, you're talking more leadership. And so there's a little more direction to it or focus. But it's one where you're thinking about others. So in this case, he's thinking about the other people that he needs to sell his stuff to. But there's an energy of it being on behalf of others. So we've got the 8, and let's see where else we go with this. So security is on our mind. Perhaps we're, well, let's draw another card before we say anything. But I think that this is after he's learned. I think that he's no longer an apprentice here. I think that he is somebody that is a skilled craftsman. Let's see what else we can add. Well, the Magician, and again, it's what we're manifesting here. The card 1 of the Major Arcana is actually not the first card. The Fool is the first card, but it's titled 0. It's considered 0. This is, you see his tools representing the elements: Pentacles, the cup for water, the sword for air, the wand for fire. You see all of the, he's manifesting beauty and growth. And you see lilies and roses on the ground there growing. You see the archway up above, the garlands, sort of a doorway into new experiences, isn't it? You see the lemnis gate above his head. He's holding possibly a scroll. It could be a wand, but some interpretations say it's a scroll. So the scroll of knowledge from spirit, raised above his head there, pointing toward spirit. The other hand pointing toward form. So as above, so below, energies here. He's the magician, and so he manifests. It's alchemical. It's an alchemical card. So he's manifesting creation, basically. The next card, of course, is the High Priestess, and so that's a more inner focus in terms of manifestation. And then when we come to the Empress, which is the next card after that, then we start really manifesting into form itself. And she's of course Mother Earth. She's Gaia. She's the goddess, the mother within, the mother of all, not the mother of dragons. You believe that? Jesus. That's all I'm going to say. I'll give it a week. For those of you who haven't seen it. Wow. You got to admit, whether you like this last season or not, it was an opus. The whole thing. It was incredible. It was just incredible. No matter, I mean, it was both campy and silly and regal, and I don't know. It was just cool. My favorite, of course, was Aria. She grew throughout that whole thing, didn't she? Anyhow, let's draw a third card, not get off on Game of Thrones. Right now, we're talking about what we're going to manifest. Well, whatever we're doing is going to manifest fulfillment, because here we have the Ten of Cups. You know, lately, I mean, we've had there's been a lot of drama in the readings. There's been a lot of conflict, either from self within, you know, coming from the self, or it's coming from without. So it's nice to see some sort of you know, we started yesterday, there was a little bit of conflict, but then we moved right into self-awareness. And so it seems like we're really continuing that theme today. Here we're working in even progression on our craft, increasing our trade, increasing our wealth. I'm going to put the Magician in front of him. So we're going to move the cards around today. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. It's your reading, so, you know, don't be afraid to move your cards around. You're telling a story with this. And if it makes more sense, you know, to do that, then you should. So if we're going to move the Magician to the beginning, we're talking about what we're going to manifest. And whatever it is, you know, we need to be thinking about others in the process, and we need to be working on it in even progression, taking responsibility for what we're doing. And if we do that, then we move into the Ten of Cups, which is happiness and fulfillment. You see the family there. The kids are dancing. Mom and dad are happy. You see the rainbow up there with all of the 10 cups. 10 is about new beginnings. So it's almost like, you know, with the rainbow, you're looking at almost like a doorway into new experiences, but they're well prepared for the future, basically. Well, I mean, that's nice because, you know, like I say, we've been dealing with this drama that has been affecting our lives, in our country, in our world. It doesn't matter where you live, there's always drama, isn't there? And it just seems like at some point we're going to have to manifest something else. And it's going to have to be something that actually is positive and supportive and builds on a future together. Because really, what we're talking about here, even though he's working alone, he's not doing it just for himself. He's doing this for other people, not only for the people who are going to be his customers, but also probably his family. So very likely, he's plying his trade, and then this is the same gentleman and his family. So we're working hard, but we're going to see some benefit to all of that, it seems like. But it's not something that we're waiting to drop in our lap. This is something that we're building on our own. To become a craftsman takes time, it's skill. You work hard, or you're not going to get anywhere with it. So the skill itself may be innate, it may come easily to you, but you still have to work at it. Otherwise, you're not going to produce anything. Or in the case of the magician, manifest something. Let's pull a rune. Well, we have Rito, the 5th rune of the Elder Futhark. Now, Rito is about change. It's about movement, but it's about movement and harmony. Think rider and horse when you see Rito. You see Vunyo, the P part of it looks like a P. If you take this bottom little line out, you have something that looks like a P. That's Vunyo. So that's fellowship, joy, harmony with others. There's the harmony aspect of Rito. You also see Kenaz in this part here. You can see Kenaz. So it's illuminating the path. But ideally, what this rune is really about is about process over goal. Working in harmony with other people, but it's also about working with harmony within. You can say that he's doing that. He's aligned, mind, body, spirit, right? Because he's doing well. If he wasn't aligned in mind, body, spirit, then you get nowhere. You struggle against yourself, and there's the lack of harmony within that we're talking about there. When we could actually put Rito in between the 8 of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups, or we could even put it between the Magician and the 8, because Rito actually describes the manifestation process. In a very real sense, because you're talking about process over goal. So not only are you talking about the process itself going forward, which you see manifested in the 8, but you're talking about the genesis of it as well. If we understand, you've known people like this, I'm sure. I'm sort of a process person, more so than a goal-oriented person. My husband, on the other hand, is goal-oriented. So if he doesn't get everything in the potential universe done, if there's anything left to do, he's not comfortable. I've known a lot of people like that. If they don't accomplish a certain thing, it's difficult, and they find it difficult to change course if they need to. Rito implies the notion of you got to move around obstacles. If what you're doing isn't working for you, if the process is going nowhere, you're not going to achieve a goal anyway, right? And so you need to have that willingness to just sort of move around it. Now, I believe, and I'm going to check, Rito, I think, is a water element, maybe. Let me look. Given that it's the 5th rune and it's about change and all of that. No, it's air. Soul journey. Yeah. So esoterically, you would consider it definitely the soul journey. So yeah, that would be air or ether, even. So spirit. It basically tells us that the other harmony that has to be achieved. I mean, you can see Laguz in it. You can see Isa. But the other harmony that needs to be achieved is the harmony between spirit and ego. keep losing my little notes here from yesterday. It's not just about the process while in form. It's about how we manifest in form and who we are within that structure. And so Rado is also talking about how we manifest the spirit in alignment with ego as well. That's how we'll say it. I'm trying to use the key words of the cards here to sort of bring this home and align this together here. 6 and 8 is 14, so 5, 6, that's higher self if we take numerologically all of this. So I think that, yeah, it basically says that there's a higher self focus here that's at the heart of Rito. You know, we make the mistake, I think, when we only consider, you know, who we are as bodies, as humans. When we only think of us in ourselves in those terms, I think that we miss the biggest of it of all, and that is that we are spirit, focusing into form, focusing as these bodies. I'm going to do a geomancy rune here to add a little depth to this. I need to have my light on though. There's air. Is that air? Yeah. The order that it goes in is fire, air, water, and earth. So I just need to get these in the right order, and then we'll know what the glyph is. Well, let's see. I think that's acquisitio. 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 Oh, we'll turn that way. That's why I'm having a hard time reading it. No, it's not acquisitio. This is conjunctio. Yeah, conjunctio. Okay, I'll draw it out for you so you see what that is. All right, now conjunctio, let me get a little Sharpie here so you can see it better. Conjunctio is about joining with others. Now, a lot of these geomancy runes, they can they reflect their surroundings. So if you're with evil, it's going to be an evil influence. If you're with something good, it's going to be a good influence. But that's conjunctio. That's what that looks like. You've got 2 passive influences on the fire. You've got 2 active influences on the air and water, and another passive influence on earth. The 2 dots are passive. The single dots are active influences. And so you've got passive with all the activity in the middle. So you've got kind of a, not really even a, well, I mean, you got a barrier, but basically it's like a container, isn't it? And it's a container, and so you think unity. Yeah, I mean, it just reinforces the whole notion of mind, body, spirit alignment, which you need for the Rado process and for the magician process here, manifestation. And then what will we manifest? It also relates to the 8 of Pentacles, both in terms of unity within and without, which results in, you know, happiness and fulfillment. So this is either describing something that's happening in your life, or it's describing what you need to make happen in your life, one of the two. But I think that it's telling us that our happiness is on us. We can't sit around and wait for someone else to provide that for us. We have to manifest that on our own. You know, we don't do that by reacting in ego to everything. We do it by reacting in spirit with that, you know, source vision, with that spirit voice, that spiritual awareness of who we really are. You know, the creator manifested into form, little aspects of that, little points of light, if you will. We're all vibrating together in some collective unified consciousness that we call this universe and this experience, this collective experience that we're having together. Losing my voice already. But at the end of the day, if we don't manifest that aspect within, the conflict remains, doesn't it? And we find it hard to come together in unity. But the fact is that even though we may disagree with one another about different things, the fact is we couldn't be separate even if we tried. The Creator is not separate. And as we are all aspects of the Creator, we are not separate from one another. Everything that we see, everything that we are, is the Creator personified into form. Everything, everyone we see is an other side of self, not another. So we really are one universe, one people, one humanity. We really are. We just have to know that. We just have to know that truth and let go of the ego saying, no, 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 no. Me, 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 me. I'm what's important. No, there is no I. There is only we. And I think Conjunctio basically tells us that. So this is a really nice reading. I'll jot this down here on my I have a little post-it note thing here on the side that I jot all this stuff down on so that I can remember it tomorrow, all of that. But yeah, maybe we're starting to, last week it was like this as well, where it seemed like we turned a corner where in terms of our focus, because that's all this really is focus. We focus into form, we focus into ego, we focus into spirit. Whatever we're choosing to focus on, whatever we choose to give our attention to, that's what we're creating. We're either reacting or we're creating, one of the two. And it's better to create from the standpoint of spirit instead of ever reacting from the standpoint of ego. But no matter what, we're still going to do that. We just want to have it more heavily weighted on the other end of things. The as above part of the so below. We actually want what is spirit. What that's basically saying is spirit needs to inform the physical, okay? It needs to manifest the physical. It needs to be the physical. We don't then detach and go over there until the body's done living. We as spirit need to be part of this process. And I think you see a progression, particularly from last week, where we stopped getting in the way of ourselves. And, now we're sort of moving into more of a choice, to where we understand that we actually have a choice here. We don't need to be caught up in all of the drama. We can know what's going on. It's not that you want to turn a blind eye. You want to know, but you just want to find ways to still manifest love and joy and unity and success in your life. So anyhow, I guess that's it for today. I've been trying to keep these right around 30 minutes, and so far I've been doing pretty well. So anyhow, so cool. Well, thank you so much for coming by. I hope you come back tomorrow. Click subscribe. I'd love you to do that. I do these 4 days a week, so I got 2 more days, and then we'll take a few days off, and we'll be back on the following Monday. But in any event, thanks again for coming. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.